Good evening. This is Bob Davis, co-owner of Soul Patrol, with along with my brother Mike, who's behind the scenes. I'm here tonight to uh, welcome a special guest. Her name is Susaye Greene, and Susaye, as you all know, was a member of the Supremes back in their second heyday in the 1970s. And she's on here tonight to give us a 411 about the late, great Mary Wilson. And So I'm going to pass the mic over to Susaye. And Susaye, can you tell us about Mary Wilson?
Sure. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about Mary. She was a particular hero of mine. It's it's an amazing thing to think of three girls from Detroit who chased their dream the way that they did. I always say in our show now with the former ladies of the Supremes that there were three little girls who went to Motown to meet with Mr. Berry Gordy. They were Diana Ross, Florence Ballard, and Mary Wilson. When they became Diana Ross and the Supremes, Florence left the group and was replaced by Cindy Birdsong. Later, when Diana left, Jean Terrell came into the Supremes. Then, Linda Lawrence, Miss Sherry Payne, and myself, Susaye Greene, the last Supreme. The Supremes, for me, a kid growing up in New York City, were the ultimate dream because I could turn on Ed Sullivan and see these beautiful young Black girls who represented something that we had never seen in the industry, and that was a classy perception to the world, who could stand on any stage and as professionals could run with the best of them. Of course, the outpouring of that was 12 number one singles in a row, which was only rivaled by the illustrious Beatles. But the Supremes, you could look at and dream about, and you could be Diana Ross. The big eyes and the big charisma. Mary Wilson, of course, who looked like a brown Barbie doll. And Florence Ballard, the sweet, heart-shaped, yellow face. So beautiful, three of them. And they stood on stages that commanded excellence, respect around the world, from one part of the world to the other. The way that I found out this morning about Mary's passing, just as an example of who she was. My friend James Chow, who's a popular reporter from China, who lives in Singapore, called me and told me what had happened. And this is, 5 o'clock in the morning. So I knew something was up. But what a shock, what a surprise. Mary was so ebullient, so full of vigor and life, and she loved to go, woo, and be, the party, the life of the party. But she had a tremendous serious side as well. She was an advocate for so many great things for musicians. The acts that she went and worked and made happen so that artists around the world would get paid for radio plays, for the things they had done in the past. She had a big heart. I know she treated me like a friend. And it was very difficult. It was a very difficult time, to be in that where you're leaving someone, Cindy Birdsong is just the most marvelous girl. She is the sweetest person that I've ever known. So when she left, I know it was difficult for Sherry and Mary to accept me on that, unknown merit. They knew what I had done, and so been children since all my life, but as a friend, as a lady, they didn't quite know what to expect. Of course, I was ready. You know, you don't get to be in something like the Supremes without being ready for it. It was a destiny call. You know, so I shall never forget working with her. She was kind-hearted. She was generous of spirit. But beyond that, if she didn't feel well, she was still going to step out on that stage and slay the people. She's happiest in front of a crowd, in front of a camera. It was her life. And it meant so much to her that once we got together, the three of us, Mary and Sherry and I, and of course the last Supremes album was called Mary, Sherry, Susaye, which was a full circle, you see, because the original group were just their names. And it gave such respect to what she held on to and passed forward as a legacy. There have been many performers that I've had the blessing to work with, but none quite so glamorous, none quite so steady, dependable. It's quite a thing to stand on a stage in a 30-pound beaded gown, which has a life of its own, move gracefully, entertain the people, and still maintain, the presence of mind to be gracious and fun and so charismatic. So I know I've had 11,000 people reach out to me today, literally, about Mary, and that's just on Twitter. I know how much people love her because she was loving and giving. She had the mother quality. Her baby came on the road with us. And that's how I learned to be a mom on the road with a baby. Because regardless of what we were doing, if it was an interview, her baby was just there, sometimes on camera even, but mostly just off camera, just off stage, but right there, so mom could see. And she was a mother to us as well as a friend. She had a way about her that was caring, that was just pure gold. I don't know any other way to put it. There were issues with the Supremes when they had the return to love. That was a whole debacle that we wish had gone forward and gone a different way, because the fans wanted to see the Supremes together again, if they could. Now, of course, Diane, Jean, Linda, Sherry, Cindy, and myself are the Supremes left to carry on the legacy. And we will do that. But Mary Wilson was the Queen Supreme.
Well, Susaye, that was very eloquent.
Thank you.
That was on the money, and I really appreciate you coming on here, especially after you said that you got 5,000 calls today of different people reaching out to you. You chose to come on Soul Patrol and give us such an eloquent. I don't know if it's technically a eulogy or not, but I mean, I think you did Mary justice.
Well, thank you. Thank you
so
much.
I really appreciate that.
My pleasure.